Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This isn't the video that I talked about yesterday, it's a dummy run. There's several reasons, and one of them is like now, standing exactly in the middle, because what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to crop the video from the normal, like widescreen TV aspect of 16:9 to the old-fashioned 4:3. The reason is very simple. The screen that it'll be projected on is 4:3, and if I have the 16:9 widescreen, basically it'll have to be zoomed in to get it all on the screen, leaving a huge bit at the top and the bottom not being used, and everything will be smaller to get it on the screen. So by cropping it to 4:3, I can fill the screen, which gives people a lot better a view, if you see what I mean. Filling this, I've noticed recently there's quite a few presentations, there's been quite a bit hanging off the edges. I think it's to do with the camera operator, no, not the camera, the projector operator. But as I've said, the problem is if you try and get the widescreen on the normal screen, you've reduced it down quite dramatically. So the detail's not as good, yeah? Quality's better, the detail's not as good. So this is a dummy run, this isn't the real thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop effectively, because I'm obviously talking in this one, that's not the idea, is it? And then I'll restart again as though it was the beginning of the presentation. So no more words, no more mouth open. Smile here and then, here or there perhaps, and lots of pointing, yeah, and holding and showing, which will then have a soundtrack recorded over the top of it, which is my voice. That's for you. Yeah. On the night, I'll actually be down the front, with the microphone talking along. But obviously, you don't want to watch a silent movie, do you? You go on YouTube and search black and white movies if you want to do that. There's loads there. Right, so let's break off and then we'll start again effectively, and I'll just get a couple of plants down, hold them up, turn them round, the sort of thing. I've got 20 minutes, and I want to look at Nobiles, because the idea is to demonstrate taking my Dendrobiums into winter. So obviously I've got to get some Nobiles up there. I'll get a Latouria, Phalaenopsis type, black hair type. I've only got one antelope type, that was the one I forgot. I won't bother showing that, I've only had it a short while. And a couple of others that are not in those sets as such. They just come into the drier in winter bit. So we'll go, on the actual video proper, I will go through the set and show, like we did on Sunday, the differences where some are already being rested, and some aren't, and some are going to grow on well into the winter, if not out the other end. So I just want to make that point over to people, that Dendrobiums don't necessarily follow an exact pattern, and they can vary from year to year. And the most important thing is to use these and look at the plants and add a bit of common sense in. Don't starve a plant of water and feed if it's actively growing, even if it's not supposed to be. If it is, deal with it. So that's the idea. Right, so we'll start again. Good evening everybody, welcome to my video presentation, and tonight we're going to have a chat about taking my Dendrobiums into winter. It's a subject that worries an awful lot of people, well, certainly on my YouTube channel. Different types of Dendrobiums require different treatments for their winter, and a lot of it will depend on your own environment, whether you grow in the home, whether you've got a greenhouse, how heated it is, how warm it gets or doesn't, various things. I'll use their Dendrobium sections to divide them up into sets as we go along. And okay, let's make a start. Welcome to my grow room. Have a look at a few of my dendrobiums and have a chat about them and their needs for winter. Now, this is Dendrobium glossam. It's quite a large plant. I've had it quite a long time. And over the years I've discovered that this one does its own thing and takes no notice of the books, along with me. These are last year's new growths, not this season's. These are last season's new growths. They're still growing. So they've grown through last season, they've grown through last winter, and they have grown on through this season. They're still growing. Up the top here are this season's growths. So these are the new growths up the top here. And at the moment they're trying to create new leaves and they're trying to grow. So as far as I'm concerned, this plant will get some feed and I will carry on watering it through the winter. Not as heavily as in the growing season, but I'm not going to stall those new growths. So I'm going to take no notice of the books and not keep it as dry as some might say. Right, the Latouria plants, however, are a different kettle of fish. For me, these are going to get too cold in the winter in my grow room. Yeah, I can't keep it warmer. I've got resting dendrobiums in here. I don't want it warm in the winter. But because these like to stay warm, these will stop growing in the winter. Yeah? So they don't get any feed, they're not growing. And they get very, very little water so that I don't rot the roots. So that's Latouria types. So we get on to the Nobile types. Now, most people, if they've got a dendrobium, the chances are it's a Nobile hybrid. Very popular, very common, garden centres, you know, garages, anywhere where an orchid's for sale, you might find these. Now, these can grow quite big, and some of them remain sort of medium sized. This is a particularly large one. These are the older canes. They've dropped some leaves, but this cane's still going to bloom next spring. It'll bloom lower down. It's bloomed near the top. You see this one as well, this older cane. It's got nodes that haven't been used. They'll still bloom next year. And then this year's growths are the new canes, this one here. This is finished growing for the year. It's got a terminal leaf. Yeah, it's got alternate leaves going up the cane and then one sticking up a bit towards the top. That's the terminal leaf. That means it's finished growing for the year. There's another one. There's another one round here. That's also finished growing. So this plant is currently being rested. It's finished its growth, which means it's not going to get any food now till the spring. But it will get a trickle of water now and again to stop those canes desiccating. And the brightest light I can give it. Right, another type, again, many people will have a Phalaenopsis type hybrid of some description. Quite honestly, these need roughly the same sort of care as the Latourias, although they're not quite so fussy on the humidity. But again, because this is going to get a bit cooler than it would like in the winter, it's going to finish growing. It will either slow right down or stop. So we won't be giving that much feed. But there again, yes we will. It's pushing up a spike. It's trying to swell up buds. Well, it'll either drain the canes or I'll give it a bit of feed. Okay, so you get the idea. Obviously it's just pointing, holding plants up, and the soundtrack is added. This is live, obviously. Well, not live, but you know what I mean. Real, we'll call it real. And when I do it for real, it'll be smooth in as much as I will have all the plants lined up so that I can pick one up, put it down, pick the next one up, rather than turning my back on the camera. There won't be any of that. It'll be nice and smooth. But this is to really demonstrate the principle and what the 4/3 mask looks like, because it is a mask. In effect, it's chopping the edges off. Yeah? Obviously it can't be electronically changed from 16 to 9 down to 4 to 3, because everything will either be long and thin or short and fat. What do you mean I already am short and fat? Careful. But yeah, so it's just a mask basically. It just cuts the edges off. So it's very important that I stay in the middle and don't let too much of the filming hang over the edges because it'll disappear off the edges. So that's the idea, that's the principle. I will probably do the for real one tomorrow. I'll still post it, don't worry, you will see the 20-minute version with the pre-recorded soundtrack that will be the one that goes up. As I said, it'll look a little odd on YouTube, but again, I will put a little introduction at the beginning and then start it proper, with a title and all that sort of stuff. So this was just to check out that the principle works. Right, let's go and load this up on the computer and fiddle with it. All good fun.